Mr. Sylvain Cardin to come on stage, please. From MindMaze, his presentation will be about MindMotion Go, a virtual reality for post-stroke rehabilitation. Sorry.
So thank you for the introduction. I'm Sylvain Cardin. I'm leading like R&D in MindMaze in like a form of new computer interaction. And I'm here with Aurélien Dacampo, which was like the lead developer and lead engineer on this project. So I'll be presenting the MindMotion Go. So it's a device for rehabilitation. Using our brain. We usually think about using our brain to do some complex computation and complex reflection. But in fact, just standing there doing nothing, using a hell lot of our brain capacity just to command your muscles to do the right action. Even this kid is like his brain is working a lot just to bring food to his mouth. So even vital function like using like a lot of our brain capacity. Having a stroke means that from one day to another, your brain will not function properly. Like a stroke, like it's create like a blood explosion in your brain, and some part of your brain is damaged, and so you can't think clearly. So doing like mental like reflection become cloudy. For some patient, even standing is not possible, and the most basic like motor skills required to perform daily life activity becomes a challenge. It affects everyone because there's 50 million victims per day. Like, yeah, it really affects everyone, and we must act about it because everyone will be impacted. Hopefully not directly, but indirectly. Like, and victims are younger and younger, and it's become something which is very critical for public health. So recovery. In order to make a good recovery, we need to start early because when the brain cells are damaged, they start this hyperactivity. And so as early as we can start rehabilitation, more progress you will get on the patient, and the first phase is critical. We must train as much as possible, and training will help, even not in this acute phase, but by training, patients will increase their state. We need to execute the right movement. So we need to train the movement that we can't perform, and the brain is trying to find ways around. So patients have tendency to like make some easier movement for that, but it doesn't help them recover. And we need to get the right feedback. So a patient day is mostly like laying in bed or doing mostly nothing. There's not enough therapy, so it's usually like 20 minutes of exercise of active therapy per day. So he's waiting. So basically it means for recovery, start early is difficult, and train as much as possible is not feasible. So MindMaze has been founded by Ted Stady, which was a doctor in neuroscience from EPFL. It was like the goal was really to develop system dedicated to patients to this problematic from hospital. So we got one device which is like fully created by MindMaze from like the whole hardware, the whole sensors, which is dedicated to acute phase, so to patients which are just having a stroke in hospital to this early. And today we will be presenting the new product. It's called MindMotion Go, which is dedicated for rehabilitation center and toward home usage. So I will let like Aurélien to present the system because.
So hello. So let's talk a bit about MindMotion Go. So MindMotion Go is a rehabilitation platform designed mainly in collaboration with therapists on the field and also game developers. The device provides a set of games which has been designed to be tailored for patients, especially for the chronic phase. The device provides information regarding to the movement you have to perform and if you do it correctly. And it also lets you monitor the performance of the patient. So one important thing is the movement, of course. So we are trying to cover as much as possible movement in the system, and especially movement that is used in common therapy. So we have 7 movements for upper limbs, 4 for hands, 2 for trunks, and 2 for lower limbs. So one important aspect is also the fact that we adapt the movement to the patient capabilities. Some patient has difficulties to, let's say, open the hands, especially after stroke, and we have to design a system which allows to play all the games with also limited movements. So we added the calibration system, which basically you have a phase where we ask to close the hand and to open the hand, and even if you are not able to open fully the hand, the system will adjust all the game to let you play the game with those limited range of motion. So do the right movement is really important too. So we added a feedback about compensation and the correctness of the movement. It's done like this. So we use the Kinect 2 and the lip motion for the hands. So Kinect 2 for the full body. And as you can see here, we have the pelvis shifting, which is a movement prohibited in a certain game. So here you can see if you shift, you have highlighted bones. Like this, we can easily say to the patient, the movement is not right. So here is the performance graph. So you can see over time the number of time, the duration you played for one session. One session is 1 day, and the average score you got for all the game played. Oops. So currently we have 20 games. A game is basically composed by one environment and one movement. So we can mix up games and movement. For example, you can play one game logic, let's say by using a fake steering wheel like that, and you can also play it like this, and you can play it with your hand, etc. So we can mix up like this. You can test some logic with different set of movements. So let's talk a bit about gamification. I won't talk about game design and how we design the games, but more about the process of making games and serious games, which is basically a work of different teams, clinical, marketing, and game development. So basically, when we start the creation of a game, we start by clinical needs, and we need to, if the clinical team needs to train to focus on certain movement, they will provide us details about the movement, like frequency, amplitude, and perhaps some ideas about the cognitive tasks to be done. After that, we gather with the game developers, and we try to design a gameplay which gonna fit with the frequency and amplitude of all the definition coming from clinical team. We're gonna make then a prototype, validate the prototype. If it doesn't work for clinical or marketing, we're gonna reiterate and restart the process. Basically, when we create a prototype, we create the movement analyzer, which analyze obviously the body joints, etc., to output some data and control the game, and the basic playable version of the game. So as soon as the prototype is ready, we start an iteration of production, and we create something, we validate with the clinical team, etc., until we have a game finished. So that's it for MindMotion Go product.
So the MindMotion Go, we perform in soft launch, so we install it like in 25 different sites, from hospitals to rehab center to some private practitioners. So it was being used by around 100 therapists. and 300 patients. So far, we had really positive feedback about the system, so we are ready to be launched very soon on the market. And you can come, we have the system is in place there in the demo area, and please come and test it. Thank you for your attention. So if you have any questions.
Thank you. 1, 2, yes. Are there questions?
I have 2 questions. The first question, if I remember correctly, you have FDA clearance now. For this product, what's the market are you aiming? Also USA, or is worldwide that you want to target, or with this product?
So basically, it's our Pro version. So for the acute phase, the one is, to be clear, which has been FDA cleared now. So we are targeting all international markets, so Europe, US market, and Asia also.
So it's related to my second question. Are you adapting your games to the market or to the people? So, for example, it can be old people. How can you measure that the response of the patient is because he didn't understand the game, or because old people sometimes didn't understand how you need to move, or So the principle of my question is: do you adapt your games depending on the people?
It was really the point at the beginning of the project, because we seen that there was some commercial console like the Wii, for example, entering some rehab center and some EMS for all people, and the interface there was not suitable. You had to create your avatar, and some the menu were a bit complex. For the game, we really had that intuitivity in mind. There's a little tutorial.
Yeah, we are also making daily living activities. So it's basically things you do every day, like brushing your tooth, etc. And we have a funny fact just yesterday. I'm currently designing a game about driving in a city. And basically, a question came up, and it was like, we are currently designing the game to drive on the right side, but we are certainly targeting the market, the UK market. So we have somehow to do it on the left side, because it's very important for patient. Patient wants to, especially in daily living activities, because patient doesn't have to care and to think, it's too complex for them. If we bring some changes in, we must match as possible the reality in that specific case. So we are on it.
One more question.
Bonjour. Ma question, elle va être un petit peu technique. Alors, je ne sais pas si je m'adresse à peut-être pas à la bonne personne, mais j'ai travaillé l'année dernière sur une idée semblable au niveau de la détection des mouvements. L'idée, c'était qu'un thérapeute décide des mouvements à faire, on les enregistre, on fait un échantillonnage, et après, le patient les réalise chez soi, et après, il obtient des scores. Notre plus grand problème, c'était de déterminer l'exactitude par rapport aux étapes intermédiaires. Parce que parfois, si c'est seulement la main, ça joue, mais parfois des mouvements de sport, de réhabilitation, ils peuvent être complexes. Et on n'a pas trouvé des bonnes solutions. La seule solution, comme j'ai dit, c'est d'avoir établi des étapes intermédiaires par lesquelles le patient devrait passer pour valider, on va dire, l'exercice. Et on ne tenait pas du tout compte du temps. Ça veut dire qu'il peut passer 3 secondes pour arriver à une étape, on considérait toujours que c'était correct. Alors, si ce n'est pas confidentiel, est-ce que vous avez mieux que ça? Comment vous avez traité le problème?
Nous, justement pour ce dispositif ici, on a justement identifié tous les mouvements. On a séparé chaque mouvement. Du coup, on peut contrôler un jeu en faisant ce mouvement-là. Vraiment, on a complètement identifié. Après, c'est un problème très complexe Sur l'autre dispositif, pour la phase aiguë, justement, on demande au patient d'aller toucher des cibles, par exemple. Mais, alors, on doit donner un score à son mouvement. Alors, c'est très compliqué parce que si le patient arrive à toucher l'objet d'une manière ou d'une autre, on ne peut pas lui dire c'est faux. On peut pas lui dire... et ça devient très très complexe. Alors, du coup, on essaie de donner des indications visuelles pour dire ok, il faut aller toucher l'objet, mais il faut y aller de cette manière-là. Et après coup, on peut calculer la distance. Pardon ?
Est-ce que vous arrivez à contrôler ça automatiquement? Vous avez un algorithme qui permet de donner le score.
Alors là, c'est assez simple dans le sens où on définit une trajectoire, après on regarde la distance par rapport à la trajectoire, on peut influencer sur le temps, ou aussi on peut faire des analyses de mouvement sur la fréquence, enfin la vibration, disons, du geste ou la fluidité du geste. Ça, c'est des facteurs qui peuvent être utiles pour calculer le score. Mais c'est effectivement un problème complexe.
I have one more question for you. I come back with my efficiency question. Did you evaluate the efficiency on rehabilitation? Do people be rehabilitated quicker than with traditional methods?
So the claims we have with this system is about motivation, mainly to help the people want to do some exercise, and for that we have very nice feedback, especially the patient who are really interested in this. Instead of doing just the movement in the air and having some feedback about it, it was important. The second point is it's very linked, it's the dose of rehabilitation, so basically by increasing the time of rehabilitation, so it's helping with the motivation. In terms of pure efficiency, we don't have enough data to be able to claim that right now. So basically, since we develop the system to be the same exercise as standard rehabilitation, we only claim that if you're using our system or if you're doing that with a standard technique, it's the same. So rehabilitation helps to improve the patient condition. And we're just claiming that with this system, people will train more. It will also allow therapists to have multiple patients at the same time, because you just the patient setting up or explaining a few times, and after the patient can be on his own. And we want also to push us toward the home version, so the patient can train at home. And after, in terms of pure efficiency, does it better than standard therapy? It's not something where we're unsure, because we will need to have a lot of statistics, and it's very complex because a stroke is different for everybody, because it's dependent on the patient, it's dependent on the localization of the stroke, it's dependent on the size of the strokes, and so patients have different effects and there to have some relevance to be able to do some claims about our system is better, it improve faster. It's difficult because we will need a hell lot of statistics. And even if we already tested with 300 patients, it's we should have 30,000 maybe to start
That's true. It's mainly motivation, because it's funny because we were in a center sometimes I go to center just to see how reacts the patient to the games or to the device. And that was funny because there was a therapist there, and she told me that the patient was not in real time. The patient is not able to do that movement. It was a game where you have to step in front, and usually the patient is able to do a few steps, but during the game, the patient was doing a lot of movement. So it feels...
That's already
for me it's already something. It's not scientifically approved, but it's something.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.